Welcome back, everyone. We are here for a short episode of Still We Persist. I am Shaina.
And my name is Mia. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the Aya LL.
And I am the GTA, and we are your co-hosts. So, Mia, do you mind starting us off with a land acknowledgement for Corvallis?
Yeah, for sure. Um, so, Oregon State University in Corvallis, Oregon, is located within the traditional homelands of the Marys River or Ampenefu Band of Kalapuya. Following the Willamette Treaty of 1855, Kalapuya people were forcibly removed to reservations in Western Oregon, and today living descendants of those people are part of the Confederate Tribes of Grand Ronde Community of Oregon and the Confederate Tribes of Siletz Indians.
And I am here in the Jeffersontown community in Louisville, Kentucky, which is traditionally the homelands of the Shawnee Eastern Band of Cherokee, Osage, Hopewell, and Adena nations. And I also have to acknowledge that I'm working from the land that is supposed to be the homelands, or is supposed to be stewarded by the descendants of the people of those nations, including the people who were forcibly removed, but also the ones who remain here in Kentucky today. So Mia, today we are talking about how we deal with stress, anxiety, figure out how to relax and focus. I keep hearing from pretty much everyone I talk to that this is an overwhelming time of the term, and I think winter is just especially busy for everybody. So do you have any ideas? Like, what do you do to keep yourself focused or reduce stress?
The first thing that comes to mind is when I'm usually feeling stressful or stressed out, I like to take a walk in between things. So scheduling out times when I can take a break, relax, like gather my thoughts, have time to reflect after just having had meetings or reading some like school material or something like that. It's really nice to get outside. And, with that being said, it's winter right now. And in Oregon, we've had some sunny days, at least in Corvallis, but outside I know is like not always an option, especially if it's raining or snowing or something like that. So I'd say a good practice just to keep a time wherein, it's like the middle of your day, if you can, like in between a job or classes or in between classes or something, you could just get away from your screen, like all screens, like phone, computer, tablet, whatever you have, and just have some time for you. Like I said, for me, it's going outside, but could be meditation in your room, or it doesn't even have to be so much meditation. It could be a nap, or it can be writing some things down in your journal. I don't know. Cooking some food, that's really nice too. I think that's a good way. Whatever is just something that's for you, that you enjoy, and that does not remind you of class or work or whatever it was that was stressing you out. Definitely still struggle with that, like to schedule it in, but I think I have a pretty good balance in my day where it's like not all work. So trying to find that for yourself, I think, is key for managing stressful times.
Yeah, it sounds like you always have good advice for me for when I'm like, I keep telling you like, oh, I'm not caught up on everything, and you remind me to do things like go outside. And I had like cooking on my list, but I completely forgot about taking a walk. Like, I remember my freshman year in college, I was walking back from like a class where I knew I wasn't doing well, and like I just didn't get what was happening, and I was gonna have to go back to my dorm and start studying right away for an exam. And so like as I was walking back, I just took a detour through like the woods on campus, and it made such a difference to just like be among the trees and get some extra fresh air, and not just be like, my focus wasn't just from like point A class to like point B studying. I had a little bit of time to clear my head. And since then I realized like, okay, exercise, like it doesn't have to be like major exercise. I'm just moving around a little bit, right? The fresh air, appreciating nature. Like I walked by a tree that had these tiny pine cones, and like I found one on the ground and just took it back to my dorm with me and kept it there as a reminder. Like just get some fresh air when you're stressed out. That is really big. And now it's very cold here in Kentucky. It's been below freezing, at least in Louisville. So hard to be outside for too long, but if I'm studying, sometimes I might just like crack my window for a few minutes just to get some fresh air, and that helps a whole lot. So I really appreciate that advice that you keep having to give me because I keep forgetting for some reason.
I think that's another part of it too. I love that you went outside and, found that pine cone as a reminder to get out there and to de-stress for a little bit. But I think something else that you mentioned was like me having to remind you. But I think that's also part of the practice too, is like building accountability with your community or like who's around you, like letting them know like, yeah, I am stressed out. That's the first step to not being stressed. Letting people know like, yes, I'm stressed. I am so tense right now. And then, like voicing that to community, and hopefully your community like knows you well enough that they can like urge you or like encourage you to get outside or do the cooking that you like to do as a break. And like maybe they're not able to provide that break for you pandemic times, but like they encourage you to do it for yourself.
Yeah, the accountability is big. Plus, knowing that other people are going through the same thing makes me feel like I'm not failing to keep up myself. Like this is just kind of how it's going to be for a lot of us on campus. So that like camaraderie, I think, is important too when you talk to other people and share just how difficult things can be sometimes. I also wanted to talk a little bit about like I have gotten better about managing my anxiety, but like it used to be a lot worse before I figured out what works for me. So I mentioned like exercise, even if I don't have time to go to the gym for an hour, just getting like some kind of movement really helps keep my anxiety under control. And no caffeine. Caffeine will ramp up anxiety for most people. Not like telling you all what to do, just saying what works for me. And another thing I've noticed is if I'm feeling like things are getting a little bit out of control, sometimes it means I'm not eating well, like making sure I sit down and eat like warm, balanced meals. And I know it sounds like I'm talking about like you have to be healthy in every way. That's not really the point. It's more like I feel like I'm taking care of myself if I'm taking a little bit of time to like have just a good meal that feels good. So that's always, I've realized that that's important for me. And it took me years to figure out what works for me.
If you're feeling anxious, I think there's a lot of built up barriers or like stigma to not have that release, that cry. Maybe it's a cry, or you're a little shaky or something like that, but I think that's your body telling you that you need to be paying attention to something, or like your body's letting you know that you need like a physical release of like pent up emotions or anxiety or something like that. And I just want to say like yes, we need to do these practices to reduce anxiety within ourselves before it gets to that point. But if it gets to that point, like it's okay to allow yourself to have that release. And one of my friends, they kept saying this to me, and it's really helped a lot. And it's really simple. It's breakdowns lead to breakthroughs, and breakthroughs lead to love. I definitely get anxious sometimes, and after a good cry, like I do feel better, definitely. But to like avoid getting to that point, or not so much avoid, but learn from past like breakdowns or past moments with anxiety. I've learned that I need to be physical, as in like physically active, and Like I need to get outside at least a few times a week, and like I need that. So I make it a point to do something active at the very beginning of my day. So this morning I wasn't feeling so much like running because it was like gray outside and it looked cold. So I just put my yoga mat down in my room and did like a 20-minute workout. So simple, 20 minutes, but start my day so much fresher. Setting intentions for the day. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think it comes back to that too, is setting intentions. So whatever it is, for me, physical activity. For Shaina, it sounds like some walks for you too. But whatever it is that you're doing, like your break or whatever, just set an intention with it for your day and have it. Maybe it's gratitude, I don't know, but I find like that helps out too, with reducing anxiety or letting like the anxiety flow through.
Yeah, and you mentioned stigma a little while back. So I was just thinking like there's definitely a cultural idea around like showing emotion is embarrassing, right? Like some big emotion like crying or something like that is supposed to be like you're supposed to feel embarrassed about it. And I don't think we should feel embarrassed, but I would much rather be embarrassed for a short while and feel better and figure out what works for me than feel crappy for like days on end. So just wanted to add that in there.
Yeah, and it really is like a physical discomfort when I'm holding in my cries. And it does not feel good. And I will acknowledge too, it is difficult to cry in front of people. Like, not saying you have to do that. Maybe this is something you do in your room by yourself, that's fine. But I realize it's difficult for me to cry, just like let it out, especially in front of people too, or a person. But it's okay. And once it's out, like, oh my gosh, such a release. But yes, it's difficult. And I resonate with like a discomfort you might feel if you're not letting that out. And that can build up. And that's when, can lead to more serious things like a panic attack or something like that. And that's, we want to avoid that. And a good way is to like let those, ride those bumps, let it happen. And then knowing when your capacity has been filled and knowing the signs of burnout in yourself, so maybe like you're really stressed with school and your body's trying to tell you, but it's hard to sometimes connect the mind and body and have the discipline to say no to something extra. Yeah, it's really important to know your capacity, to know when to say no, and like what are the signs in your body or around you when you know like you're coming to a burnout, you've met your capacity, you need to take like a step back.
That's such a good question, Mia. I think maybe I should have started with that. Well, you mentioned like kind of the physical discomfort you feel when you like know you need a release, like crying. So I can relate to that. Plus, like if I am feeling overwhelmed or like I can't manage things, it kind of feels like there's a buzzing in my head, or like the whole world is buzzing, right? Because there's just like too much for me to try to pay attention to. So when I feel that, like that's when I know I need to do something. Like maybe it's even just take a quick nap just to feel like just it's like a little bit of a reset sometimes. Also, I guess for me it is mostly just feeling like there is something like that's catching up to me that I like have to take care of. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I've been feeling like the last few weeks in this term. How about you?
No, that totally makes sense what you're saying too, having this feeling of needing to catch up, or Or for me, it's like feeling behind when I'm actually ahead of, the game or whatever it is. Yeah, I think the signals that my body gives is like being really tired at noon or something like that. Like,
Okay.
oh my goodness, it is only the afternoon and I'm really tired. And maybe, that's a signal for a break, right? Go for a little walk or something like that. My point is, if my head is like already so caught up in the day and all the things that I have to do and has been thinking about that since the moment I woke up, then yes, I'm going to be tired. So that's another thing too, is like, but having specific times for what you're going to work on in the day and having a plan ahead of time. I'm a very go with the flow kind of person. I feel like that's a big personality trait for me, but there is a balance with flow and having something planned out and having my week planned out ahead of time. Like there's some things, maybe like 4 things I jot down that I want to get done in the week. That is definitely something worth doing too, is just journaling out. All right, what do I have going on right now? What are my responsibilities? What are my priorities? Or can I take on everything I have right now? Is there something I can take out? So yeah, I would say that's a good practice too.
Lastly, we asked our community for what you all do to manage stress, focus, relax. So I actually asked some people I know, not just on social media. I actually talked to folks about this. So just some of the things that I got. One, I want to clarify, like, we're totally talking about what works for us. I definitely don't want to like impose anything, but hopefully you all can get something out of this that might be helpful. But one of the big things that came up was, if you need to talk to somebody who is like trained, a professional, a therapist, then there are resources available. I know like not everybody can afford it, but that's something that a lot of people I know do. They found a therapist that works for them, and that is their key way to manage stress and make sure that they are taking care of all the relationships in their life. One person mentioned, when they're feeling like there's too much to do, they make a list of all the things they actually have to do, and it's almost always shorter than it felt like when it was in their head, which is something that works for me too. Exercise did come up a lot. Talking to friends, like making time to call somebody or text for a while, whatever works. I know we're tired of Zoom, but one person said that like they just really enjoy doing video calls because they actually get to see people in a social way, not just work. And pets. Some one of my friends likes just cuddling with her dog. Yeah, that's kind of the crowdsourcing that we did for this episode. So thanks to my friends and family who contributed.
Yeah, those are some good ones for sure. I like the pets also. Don't have one, but yeah, I feel like they'd kind of be a bundle of joy. Relieve some stress for sure. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Shaina, or say out to the people?
Yeah, final thing, like I know a lot of us are feeling this way. Some of us are at different levels of stress than others. So we're thinking about all of you, and hopefully we can take care of each other and ourselves in the best way.
Definitely. Best wishes to everyone. I hope, um, at this university, it's week 6, which means we're ending the term soon in the next 4 weeks. So it can be a stressful time, like papers due, maybe midterm season, finals will be soon. So it is typically a stressful time, but really, just want to give you all like my best wishes and hopes and positive energy, or just energy in general, and really hope you get some time this week to take a walk, take a nap, set some intentions for yourself, write out what you're doing, see if there's anything you can take out if that's what you're needing. Yeah, maybe have a good cry with yourself. whatever works for you. I just hope you get what you need, and can have the best week that you can. And I think that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in today and sharing some of your time with us. This was definitely a helpful conversation for me personally. So also thank you, Shaina, for having this conversation. And of course, thank you to KBVR for helping us get this out on YouTube, to y'all, and a big shout out to the AYA team and all of the Hattie Redmond Women and Gender Center. Yeah, have a good week, everyone.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Bye.